Before you try to understand anything, just get comfortable. Let your shoulders relax. Let your breathing slow down without forcing it. Tonight, you don't need to stay alert. You don't need to memorize facts. You don't need to solve the universe. You're simply here to listen. What you're about to hear may sound impossible at first. Facts that challenge what feels solid, what feels certain, what feels obvious. But everything you'll hear tonight is real, measured, tested, quietly true. Quantum physics doesn't shout, it whispers. It tells us that reality is softer than we think, stranger than we expect, and far more gentle than we fear. In this video, we'll explore ideas that feel unreal, yet sit calmly beneath everyday life. You'll hear about time slowing down, about distance losing meaning, about connection existing without effort. There's no rush here, no pressure to keep up. If your mind wanders, that's okay. If you fall asleep, that's even better. The universe doesn't require your constant attention to remain fascinating. If you enjoy calm science like this, press like so others can find it too. And if you're listening right now, you can write "starting" in the comments. Now, take one slow breath. Because the first truth changes everything we think we know. Nothing around you is truly still. And once you notice that, reality begins to feel very different. Let's begin. Take a slow breath and notice how quiet the room feels around you. Here is something gentle and slightly surprising. Nothing you can touch is actually still. Not the bed beneath you, not the floor, not even your own body. Deep inside everything you see, there is constant motion. Atoms vibrate softly. Particles shift and hum. Energy moves in slow, steady patterns that never truly stop. Even when you feel completely at rest, your body remains active in calm, invisible ways. Your cells communicate. Warmth travels. Breath flows without effort. This motion isn't loud or chaotic. It's smooth, balanced, quietly alive. Picture a lake at night. From a distance, the surface looks perfectly still. But underneath, water is always adjusting, always flowing. Reality behaves the same way. Stillness is something we experience, not something nature actually does. Movement is how balance is maintained. It's how structures stay stable instead of falling apart. And here is the comforting truth. This motion is safe. It's reliable. It has been happening for billions of years without mistake. If this idea feels new or calming, gently press like so others can find this video. And if you're still listening, write "listening" in the comments. Because once you realize that nothing is truly still, the next layer of reality becomes even more fascinating. Stay with me. Let's continue gently. Look around you for a moment. The walls, the ceiling, your hands resting quietly. They all seem solid, firm, reliable. But here is something that feels almost impossible. Everything you see is mostly empty space. At the smallest scale, atoms are not packed tightly together. They are vast, open systems, a tiny center, surrounded by distance. If an atom were the size of a large stadium, its center would be a single grain of sand. The rest would be quiet, open space. And yet, things don't fall through each other. That's because what feels solid isn't matter touching matter. It's invisible forces holding patterns in place, gentle pushes and pulls that keep everything exactly where it needs to be. This means the world isn't solid in the way it feels. It's structured, organized, carefully balanced by relationships you can't see. There's something calming about that. It means reality is less heavy than it appears, less rigid, more flexible. The universe isn't built from hard blocks. It's built from space and rules that guide it softly. If this changes how you think about the word solid, press like so this video can reach others who enjoy calm science. And if you're still here with me, write "still listening" in the comments. Because what we call empty space isn't truly empty at all. And what lives inside that space is where things begin to get even stranger. Stay with me. Let this idea settle gently. Your body feels solid, real, present. But at the deepest level, you are mostly empty space. Every atom inside you is built the same way. A tiny center, wide distances, open space holding everything apart. If all the empty space inside your body disappeared, you would shrink to something smaller than a grain of dust. And yet, here you are, breathing, thinking, listening. What makes you isn't packed matter. It's structure, order, relationships between invisible parts. Your shape is not made from substance alone, it's made from balance. This means something important. You're not heavy in the way you might feel. You are light, carefully arranged, held together by quiet rules that rarely fail. There is nothing fragile about this. In fact, it's incredibly stable. These same patterns have existed since the early universe. They survived stars being born. They survived galaxies colliding. And they are still holding you together now. If this thought feels surprising or comforting, press like so others can discover this calm perspective too. And if you're still listening, write "present" in the comments. Because once you realize you are mostly space, the question naturally follows. What is it that truly holds everything together? That answer lives just beneath the surface, and it's waiting in the next section. Stay with me. Stay relaxed. Because this part sounds strange, but it's real. In the quietest places of the universe, where nothing should exist, something still happens. Particles appear and then disappear. Not because something caused them, but because reality allows it. At the smallest scale, the universe is never completely calm. Energy softly fluctuates. Tiny ripples rise and fall like breath you don't consciously control. From these ripples, particles can briefly exist. They borrow energy, they return it, and the universe remains balanced. This doesn't mean reality is broken. It means reality is flexible. Nature doesn't require a reason for every moment. Sometimes possibility is enough. This idea can feel unsettling at first, but there is something gentle hidden inside it. It means the universe is creative by nature. It doesn't need force or intention. It simply allows things to happen quietly. Nothing here is violent. Nothing is rushed. Everything follows limits that keep the system calm and stable. Even randomness has boundaries. If this way of thinking feels new, press like so this video can reach others who enjoy calm science. And if you're still listening closely, write "curious" in the comments. Because if particles can appear without warning, the next question becomes important. Why doesn't reality fall apart? The answer reveals one of the most comforting truths in physics. Stay with me. Let's slow down even more. When you hear the word empty, the mind imagines nothing at all. Silence, stillness, a complete absence. But in physics, empty space is never truly empty. What we call a vacuum is actually full of quiet activity. Invisible fields stretch through it. Energy gently fluctuates. Possibilities remain present even when nothing can be seen. Space is not a blank background. It is an active participant. Think of it like a calm ocean at night. Even when the surface looks smooth, deep currents continue to move below. The universe behaves the same way. Empty space holds potential. It supports particles. It allows forces to travel and connect distant things. This is why particles can appear and disappear. They are not coming from nowhere. They are emerging from what space already contains. There is something reassuring about this idea. It means emptiness is not a void. It is a foundation. Silence is not absence. It is readiness. Even the quiet moments in your life are not wasted or meaningless. They are spaces where balance is restored. If this perspective feels calming, press like so others can find this peaceful way of understanding reality. And if you're still listening, write "still here" in the comments. Because once you realize space itself is active, another question naturally arises. If space is doing so much, what exactly is it made of? That gentle mystery is waiting just ahead. Stay with me. Let this next idea arrive softly. In everyday life, things feel certain. A light is either on or off. A door is either open or closed. But deep inside reality, certainty fades away. At the quantum level, the universe doesn't decide immediately. Instead, it allows many possibilities to exist at once. Outcomes are described as chances, not guarantees. A particle doesn't have one fixed position. It has a range of places it might be, a gentle cloud of probability. This doesn't mean the universe is confused. It means the universe is patient. Rather than forcing a single answer, nature keeps its options open until the very last moment. There is something surprisingly calming about that. It means reality is not rigid. It doesn't rush decisions, it waits. Only when an interaction happens does one possibility quietly become real. Until then, many futures coexist peacefully. This way of working keeps the universe flexible. It allows adaptation. It prevents fragile structures from breaking too easily. Even uncertainty has a purpose. If this idea feels soothing or thought-provoking, press like so this calm. Science can reach more listeners. And if you're still following closely, write "understanding" in the comments. Because once you accept that probability is natural, another realization gently appears. What we call certainty may simply be a story our senses prefer to tell, and that realization changes how we see everything that comes next. Stay with me. Settle into this thought gently. The human mind loves certainty, clear answers, definite edges, a sense of control. But the universe doesn't work that way. At the deepest level, nature avoids being exact. It allows ranges, it allows softness, it allows uncertainty to exist without fear. This isn't a flaw in reality. It's a feature. If everything were perfectly certain, small disturbances could cause great damage. Rigid systems break easily, so the universe chooses flexibility instead. Quantum rules prevent us from knowing everything at once. You can know where something is or how fast it's moving, but never both with perfect accuracy. Reality gently says, you don't need to know everything. There is comfort in that message. It means the universe does not demand precision from you. It does not require perfection. It allows room for error, adjustment, and rest. Uncertainty creates stability, not chaos. It spreads risk. It softens extremes. It keeps systems calm over long periods of time. Even your own life follows this pattern. You move forward, without knowing every outcome. And yet, balance usually finds its way back. If this idea feels reassuring, press like so more listeners can experience this calm perspective. And if you're still listening carefully, write letting go in the comments. Because once certainty fades, another quiet truth begins to appear. Sometimes, simply observing is enough to change what happens next. Stay with me. Stay relaxed as this idea unfolds. In everyday life, measuring something feels passive. You look, you check, nothing changes. But at the smallest level of reality, measurement is never neutral. When scientists observe a particle, they don't just reveal what was already there, they influence what becomes real. Before being measured, a particle exists as many possibilities at once. It is spread out, uncertain, open. The moment it is observed, those possibilities gently narrow. One outcome quietly takes shape. Reality responds to interaction. This doesn't mean the universe needs attention to exist. It means interaction matters. Contact matters. Participation matters. Nothing is isolated. Nothing happens alone. This process isn't dramatic or forceful. It's subtle, almost polite. The universe doesn't collapse possibilities violently. It allows one to settle like a choice being made naturally over time. There is something deeply calming in this. It suggests that reality is not fixed and cold. It is responsive. It listens. It adjusts. Observation is not control. It is relationship. If this way of thinking feels meaningful or new, press like so others can discover this quiet side of science. And if you're still listening attentively, write observing in the comments. Because if observation can shape outcomes, the next realization becomes impossible to ignore. You are never just watching the universe. You are always part of what happens next. Stay with me. Let this idea arrive slowly. When you watch something, it feels like you are separate from it, a quiet observer, a distant witness. But at the deepest level of reality, there is no true distance. To observe is to interact. To notice is to participate. Every interaction, no matter how small, creates a connection, a gentle exchange of information, a subtle change on both sides. The universe does not recognize spectators, only participants. This doesn't mean you control what happens. It means you are included. You are part of the process, whether you intend to be or not. Even light touching an object changes it ever so slightly. Even measurement leaves a trace. Reality is woven from relationships, not isolated events. This perspective can feel surprisingly comforting. It means you are never truly separate, never disconnected, never outside the system, looking in. You belong to the same fabric that shapes stars, atoms, and time itself. Participation is not a burden here. It is gentle, automatic, effortless. You don't have to do anything special. Your presence is already enough. If this thought feels grounding or calming, press like so this video can reach others who need quiet science tonight. And if you're still listening with me, write connected in the comments. Because once you accept that observation is participation, one final question naturally follows. If you are always involved, does reality respond to you in return? That answer waits just ahead. Stay with me. Let everything you've heard so far settle gently. Nothing is truly still. Space is not empty. Possibility comes before certainty. And observation is never separate. All of this leads to a quiet realization. Reality is not distant. It is responsive, not in a dramatic way, not like a voice answering questions, but in a subtle, dependable rhythm. Every interaction leaves a trace. Every presence matters. The universe adjusts softly and continuously to everything within it. This doesn't mean the universe bends to your wishes. It means it includes you fully, naturally. You are not a foreign object placed into reality. You are made from the same patterns, the same rules, the same calm logic that shapes everything else. There is comfort in knowing this. You don't have to fight reality to belong here. You already do. The universe doesn't require effort from you. It doesn't demand certainty or control. It simply responds moment by moment to what is present. And right now, what is present is you, listening. If this chapter helped you feel calmer or more grounded, press like so others can find this sense of quiet understanding too. And if you're still listening, write "still listening" in the comments. Now take a slow breath, because what comes next is even more surprising. Once we leave the idea of solid objects behind, we arrive at something stranger and gentler still. Time itself does not flow the way we think it does. Let's continue. Let your body relax a little more. We often think of time as something shared, one clock, one rhythm, the same seconds for everyone everywhere. But the universe doesn't agree. Time does not move the same way in all places. It does not flow at one universal speed. It bends, it stretches, it changes depending on where you are. This isn't philosophy, it's measurement. Clocks placed in different conditions will quietly fall out of sync. One will tick slightly faster, another slightly slower. Nothing dramatic happens. No alarms, no sudden shifts you can feel. Time simply behaves differently. This means there is no single now shared by the entire universe. What feels like the present to you may already be the past somewhere else, and still the future in another place. That sounds unsettling at first, but there's something gentle hidden inside it. It means time is flexible, not strict. It adapts to motion and gravity. It responds to context. The universe does not rush everything forward together. It allows each place its own rhythm. Your experience of time is not wrong or broken if it feels slow, fast, or uneven. It is personal, local, valid. If this idea changes how you think about time, press like so others can discover this calmer view of physics. And if you're still listening quietly, write "aware" in the comments. Because once time is no longer universal, the next realization becomes unavoidable. Movement itself changes how time flows. Stay with me. Stay comfortable as this idea unfolds. Movement feels simple. You walk, you turn, you travel from one place to another. But in the universe, motion quietly affects time itself. When something moves, even slightly, time for that object slows down compared to what stays still. Not enough for you to notice in daily life, but enough for science to measure. Clocks carried on fast-moving objects tick more slowly than clocks left behind. Nothing breaks. Nothing feels strange to the traveler. Time continues normally from their point of view, but when compared later, the difference is there. This tells us something important. Time is not separate from motion. They are woven together. The faster you move through space, the slower you move through time. This isn't punishment or limitation, it's balance. The universe carefully preserves harmony by adjusting time instead of allowing contradictions. There is something peaceful in this design. No one is rushing ahead unfairly. No one is left behind without reason. Everything remains consistent within its own experience. Even light follows this rule. At its maximum speed, time itself nearly comes to rest. This doesn't feel frightening. It feels elegant. If this perspective feels calming or surprising, press like so others can discover this gentle side of physics. And if you're still listening with focus, write "moving forward" in the comments. Because if motion can slow time, another force does something similar. Gravity bends time even more deeply. That quiet truth is waiting just ahead. Stay with me. Let yourself sink gently into this idea. Gravity feels familiar. It keeps your feet on the ground. It gives weight to your body. It feels constant and reliable. But gravity does something much quieter as well. It slows time. The stronger the gravity, the more time gently stretches. Clocks closer to massive objects tick a little more slowly than clocks farther away. This happens on Earth right now. A clock at sea level runs slightly slower than one on a mountain. The difference is tiny. You don't feel it, but it is real. Gravity doesn't just pull on objects. It pulls on time itself. This means time flows at different speeds depending on where you are. Not because of choice, but because of structure. The universe remains consistent by letting time adjust instead of resisting gravity. There is something calming in that flexibility. Near extremely dense objects like black holes, time stretches dramatically. From the outside, it almost appears to stop. But for anything experiencing it, time still feels normal, smooth, continuous. Reality always protects the experience from becoming overwhelming. If this way of understanding gravity feels peaceful or fascinating, press, like so others, can find this calm explanation too. And if you're still listening closely, write "grounded" in the comments. Because once gravity can bend time, a deeper question naturally follows. Can time ever slow so much that it nearly stands still? That gentle mystery is waiting in the next section. Stay with me. Let this idea arrive slowly and gently. If motion can slow time and gravity can stretch it, then there are places in the universe where time behaves in extreme ways. Near very dense objects, time does not disappear, but it almost comes to rest. From far away, a clock near such an object appears to tick more and more slowly. Seconds stretch. Moments linger. To an outside observer, time seems frozen. But to anything experiencing it, nothing feels broken. Thoughts continue. Processes remain smooth. Time still feels normal from the inside. This tells us something important. Time is not an absolute ruler. It adapts to protect experience. Reality never allows time to snap or collapse. It bends gently, keeping cause and effect intact. There is comfort in this design. Even in the most extreme environments, the universe preserves continuity. It avoids sharp edges. It avoids sudden endings. Time doesn't stop suddenly. It slows carefully, as if giving reality space to breathe. This also means something personal. Moments that feel long or heavy are not signs of failure. They are signs of adjustment. Time stretches when needed. If this idea feels calming or reassuring, press like so others can experience this gentle view of time. And if you're still listening attentively, write "still here" in the comments. Because once you realize time can almost stop, another question softly appears. If time can slow this much, could it ever move in the opposite direction? That quiet curiosity leads us forward. Stay with me. Stay relaxed as this question unfolds. The idea of time moving backward feels impossible in daily life. Spilled water never returns to the glass. Moments don't rewind. But physics asks this question quietly. At the deepest level, many equations do not care which direction time moves. Forward and backward look the same to them. This doesn't mean the universe is constantly reversing itself. It means the rules allow the possibility. So why does time feel like it only moves one way? The answer is not force or command. It is probability. Systems naturally move from order toward states that are more likely. This creates a direction we experience as forward. But nothing in the laws of physics forbids the opposite direction. It is simply very unlikely. This makes time feel less like an arrow and more like a preference. There is something gentle in this idea. It suggests that time is not pushing you forward aggressively. It is flowing in the direction that balance allows. Memory follows this flow. We remember the past because it is where stable patterns already formed. The future remains open because it has not yet settled. If this way of thinking feels calming or thought-provoking, press like so others can discover this peaceful perspective. And if you're still listening carefully, write thinking in the comments. Because once time's direction is understood, another quiet mystery emerges. Why does memory follow time instead of leading it? That soft question waits just ahead. Stay with me. Let this thought arrive gently. You never remember the future. You remember the past. This feels obvious, but physics finds it quietly interesting. Memory and time move together. Not because time commands memory, but because memory forms where patterns have settled. Memories are records. They require stability. They need events to finish before they can be stored. The past is calm enough to be remembered. The future is still open, still changing, still undecided. This is why memory flows in one direction. At the quantum level, events begin as possibilities. Only after interactions happen do outcomes become fixed. Memory waits for that fixing. This means the feeling of time passing is deeply connected to how information settles into order. You don't feel time directly. You feel memory being created. There is something comforting here. It means the future is not empty or missing. It is simply unfinished. It hasn't chosen a form yet. And the past isn't heavy. It is stable, quiet, already resolved. This is why memories feel solid, while the future feels light and uncertain. Both states are natural. If this idea feels grounding or clear, press like so others can discover this calm understanding. And if you're still listening closely, write remembering in the comments. Because once memory and time are linked, another realization slowly appears. If memory depends on settled events, what happens at the quantum level where things don't settle easily? That gentle mystery is waiting just ahead. Stay with me. Let this idea unfold slowly. We usually imagine time as a straight line, the past behind us, the future ahead. But physics suggests something gentler. At the deepest level, past and future are not fully separate. They coexist as part of a larger structure. Events are not erased once they pass. They remain written into the fabric of reality. Quiet, stable, present in their own way. And the future is not empty space waiting to be filled. It exists as a field of possibilities, already shaped by what came before. This means reality is not being created moment by moment from nothing. It is unfolding from a structure that already contains many layers of time. Nothing is rushing, nothing is missing. The universe holds its history gently while allowing new outcomes to form. There is something calming in this picture. It means the past is not chasing you. It is settled, complete. And the future is not threatening. It is open, flexible, patient. You are always moving through a space where both already exist in balance. Even uncertainty fits comfortably inside this design. If this perspective feels reassuring or peaceful, press like so others can discover this calm way of seeing time. And if you're still listening attentively, write continuing in the comments. Because once past and future are no longer enemies, another quiet question appears. If time exists as a structure, could it be made of pieces rather than flowing smoothly? That gentle idea leads us forward. Stay with me. Stay relaxed as this idea settles in. We usually imagine time as smooth and continuous, like a river flowing without breaks, seconds blending into minutes, moments melting into one another. But deep inside reality, time may not flow smoothly at all. It may come in tiny pieces. Just as matter is made of atoms, time may be made of small, indivisible units, moments that cannot be divided further, quiet ticks beneath all experience. Between these moments, nothing happens. No motion, no change. Then, gently, the next moment arrives. This doesn't feel choppy to us because these units are unimaginably small, far beyond human perception. But this structure gives the universe stability. It prevents infinite speed. It prevents impossible states. It keeps reality from tearing itself apart. There is something calming about this idea. It means time is not slipping endlessly away. It is arriving moment by moment in steady, reliable steps. Nothing rushes, nothing overwhelms. Even the present moment is supported by structure. This also means every moment matters equally. No moment is thinner or weaker than another. Each one exists fully before giving way to the next. If this way of understanding time feels grounding, press like so others can experience this peaceful view. And if you're still listening closely, write steady in the comments. Because once time is made of moments, another quiet question appears. What holds these moments together, and why does the universe remember them? That gentle mystery waits just ahead. Stay with me. Let this idea arrive quietly. Nothing that happens in the universe is ever truly erased. Events fade from attention, but not from reality. At the deepest level, information is preserved. Details may spread out, become harder to trace, but they are never destroyed. This means the universe has memory. Not like a mind recalling stories, but like a structure that keeps a record of everything that occurs. Every interaction leaves an imprint. Every movement writes something subtle into the fabric of existence. Even when stars collapse, even when systems fall apart, the information remains rearranged, distributed, but still present. There is something deeply comforting here. It means nothing meaningful is wasted. Nothing disappears without a trace. Everything contributes to the larger pattern. The universe does not forget. It transforms. This is why time feels connected and continuous. Each moment builds upon the last, supported by what came before. Memory is not fragile. It is woven into reality itself. You are part of this record too. Your presence matters. Your interactions matter. They leave gentle marks that do not vanish. If this thought feels reassuring or grounding, press like so others can discover this calm perspective. And if you're still listening attentively, write "remembered" in the comments. Because once you realize the universe remembers everything, one final question naturally appears. If nothing is ever lost, what does that mean for where we are going next? That quiet realization leads us forward. Stay with me. Let everything you've heard about time settle quietly. Time is not a strict ruler. It does not command reality forward with force. It suggests a rhythm, a soft sequence of moments that follow one another because balance allows it. Time stretches when motion increases. It slows near gravity. It flows differently depending on place, and yet it never breaks. This tells us something important. Time is not fragile, it is adaptable. The universe does not depend on a single timeline to function properly. It allows many local rhythms to exist peacefully together. This is why experience always feels smooth from the inside, even when physics becomes complex from the outside. Time protects continuity. It ensures that cause follows effect without demanding uniformity. There is something deeply calming in this design. It means your experience of time does not need to match anyone else's to be valid. Slow days are not failures. Fast moments are not mistakes. Each rhythm serves its purpose. Time meets you where you are. If this chapter helped you feel more relaxed or thoughtful, press like so others can find this calm way of understanding time. And if you're still listening with focus, write "ready" in the comments. Now, take a slow breath, because once time is no longer absolute, another assumption begins to dissolve: distance. What feels far apart may not be as separate as it seems, and that gentle realization is where we go next. Let's continue. Let your breathing remain slow and steady. We often think of objects as separate. One thing here, another thing there. Clear boundaries in between. But at the deepest level of reality, separation is not always real. In quantum physics, two particles can behave as if they are a single system, even when they are apart. They don't lose their connection when distance appears between them. They remain linked, sharing one description, one quiet story. This doesn't mean they are communicating. It means they were never fully separate to begin with. From the moment they form together, their properties become shared. What happens to one is reflected in the other, not with delay, not with effort. Simply as part of the same structure. There is something gentle about this idea. It suggests that unity can exist without closeness. That connection does not require touch. The universe allows relationships to exist beyond location. This kind of connection doesn't feel dramatic or loud. It is subtle, stable, unbroken by space, and it works every time it is tested. If this idea feels surprising or calming, press like so others can discover this quiet side of science. And if you're still listening with attention, write "connected" in the comments. Because once two particles can behave as one, the next question naturally appears. How can this connection remain no matter how far apart they move? That quiet mystery leads us forward. Stay with me. Let this next idea settle gently in your mind. When two particles become connected in a special way, their relationship does not weaken with distance. It does not stretch. It does not fade. This phenomenon is called entanglement. Once entangled, particles share a single state. They are described together, not separately. If one particle changes, the other reflects that change instantly. Not because a signal traveled between them, but because the system was always one whole. Distance does not interrupt this connection. Space does not dilute it. The link remains intact, no matter how far apart the particles move. This idea troubled scientists for a long time. It felt uncomfortable, too strange, too fast. But experiment after experiment has quietly confirmed it. Nature does not wait for permission from distance. There is something surprisingly calming here. It means connection is not fragile. It does not depend on closeness or effort. Once formed, it simply exists. The universe supports relationships that are deeper than location. Nothing needs to travel. Nothing needs to hurry. The connection is already present. This is not chaos. It is consistency. If this way of understanding connection feels meaningful, press like so others can experience this gentle view of reality. And if you're still listening attentively, write "following" in the comments. Because once entanglement is real, another question quietly emerges. If distance cannot break connection, what does distance actually mean? That calm curiosity leads us forward. Stay with me. Stay with this idea gently. We are taught that nothing can move faster than light. And that rule still holds. No object, no signal, no message travels beyond that limit. And yet, in quantum physics, something appears to happen instantly. When entangled particles change, the connection updates without delay, not because something traveled faster than light, but because nothing traveled at all. There was never a message sent. The change is not movement. It is correlation. The universe is not passing information across space. It is revealing what was already shared. This is a subtle but important difference. It means reality is not breaking its own rules. It is using deeper ones. Distance applies to objects. It applies to motion. But it does not apply to relationships that were never separated in the first place. There is something deeply calming about this. Nothing is rushing. Nothing is chasing speed. Everything happens without effort. Connection does not require travel. It simply exists. This tells us that space is not the ultimate divider we imagine it to be. It organizes things, but it does not isolate them completely. The universe is quieter than speed, softer than distance. If this idea feels peaceful or surprising, press like so others can discover this gentle explanation. And if you're still listening carefully, write "understanding" in the comments. Because once connection doesn't need movement, another realization slowly appears. Perhaps space itself is not as fundamental as we think. That calm mystery waits just ahead. Stay with me. Let this idea rest lightly in your mind. We usually think of space as the stage of reality, a vast container where everything happens. But modern physics suggests something quieter. Space may not be the foundation. It may be the result. At the deepest level, reality appears to be built from relationships, from connections, from information. Space emerges from how things are linked, not the other way around. When connections are strong, space feels close. When connections weaken, distance appears. This means space is not an empty box holding objects. It is a pattern formed by interaction. There is something calming in this idea. It suggests that separation is not absolute. It is created by structure, not enforced by reality. Nothing is truly isolated. Distance is a description, not a barrier. This also explains why entanglement works. If space comes from connection, then connection does not need space. The universe is not scattered pieces floating apart. It is a single network appearing divided. From this view, space is flexible, responsive, secondary. Reality prioritizes relationship over location. If this perspective feels gentle or reassuring, press like so others can discover this calm understanding of physics. And if you're still listening attentively, write "seeing differently" in the comments. Because once space is no longer fundamental, another quiet thought begins to form. If space emerges from connection, could the entire universe be a single object seen from many angles? That peaceful question is waiting just ahead. Stay with me. Let this idea unfold slowly. We usually imagine the universe as countless separate things. Stars here, planets there, people in between. But from the deepest perspective, the universe may be a single system. Not pieces stitched together, but one continuous structure appearing as many parts. Every particle, every field, every force belongs to the same whole. Nothing exists on its own. Nothing is outside the system. What feels separate is simply a region of the same fabric. This is why connections appear everywhere. This is why information is never lost. This is why patterns repeat at different scales. The universe does not behave like a machine made of independent parts. It behaves like an organism, where each part reflects the state of the whole. There is something deeply calming here. It means you are not a small thing inside a massive, uncaring space. You are an expression of the same structure that forms galaxies. Nothing is foreign. Nothing is misplaced. Even complexity emerges naturally from simple, shared rules. The universe does not struggle to stay together. Unity is its default state. If this idea feels comforting or expansive, press like so others can experience this calm perspective. And if you're still listening with focus, write "part of it" in the comments. Because once the universe is understood as one object, another quiet realization begins to surface. If everything belongs to one system, then information must move in a very special way. That gentle truth is waiting just ahead. Stay with me. Let this idea arrive quietly. In daily life, things feel easy to lose. Words fade, memories blur, moments slip away. But at the deepest level of the universe, nothing truly disappears. Physics tells us that information is preserved. It may spread out. It may change form. But it is never erased. When systems break apart, their details do not vanish. They become woven into larger patterns, carried forward in subtle ways, even in the most extreme places where matter collapses and light cannot escape. Information is not destroyed. It is redistributed. This tells us something profound. The universe keeps track of everything, not by storing copies, but by maintaining structure. Every interaction leaves a trace. Every change influences what comes next. Reality remembers itself continuously. There is something deeply reassuring in this. It means nothing meaningful is wasted. Nothing is simply thrown away. Everything contributes to the ongoing story. Loss is not deletion. It is transformation. This is why the universe remains consistent over time, why patterns reappear, why cause and effect remain connected. You are part of this record too. Your presence matters. Your actions matter. They shape what follows. If this perspective feels calming or grounding, press like so others can discover this quiet truth. And if you're still listening attentively, write "nothing lost" in the comments. Because once information is never lost, another question naturally arises. If everything is remembered, how deeply are all things connected? That gentle mystery leads us forward. Stay with me. Let this idea settle softly. We usually think of touch as something physical, skin meeting skin, objects making contact. But in the universe, touch happens in quieter ways. Every particle influences others, not directly, but through shared fields and forces. Nothing exists in isolation. Even when things appear far apart, they remain linked through the structure of reality itself. A change in one place creates subtle adjustments elsewhere, not instantly felt, not loudly announced, but gently present. This does not mean the universe is chaotic. It means it is responsive. Everything belongs to a network where influence spreads softly, without urgency. There is something calming in this design. It means your presence is not confined to your outline. Your actions ripple outward in small, natural ways, not dramatically, not overwhelmingly, simply as part of being here. This is how balance is maintained. No single thing dominates. No single event stands alone. Reality distributes influence so that stability remains. Even silence participates. Even stillness connects. If this way of seeing the universe feels grounding, press like so others can discover this calm perspective. And if you're still listening attentively, write "connected everywhere" in the comments. Because once everything touches everything, another realization gently appears. If influence spreads so naturally, then separation itself may only be a matter of perspective. That quiet thought is waiting just ahead. Stay with me. Let this idea arrive gently. Entanglement may sound distant, something that belongs only to particles and labs, but its meaning reaches much closer. Everything that interacts becomes linked in some way. Every exchange leaves a trace. Every connection changes the system slightly. This means you are not separate from the world around you. You are woven into it. Your body, your environment, the air you breathe, the light touching your eyes are all part of shared interactions. Nothing about you exists in isolation. This does not mean you are trapped or controlled. It means that you are included. Entanglement at human scales is gentle and constantly changing. Connections form, they fade, they rearrange. But the principle remains. You are part of a larger pattern that never fully disconnects. There is something deeply comforting in this. It means you do not carry the weight of existence alone. Reality supports you in countless unseen ways. Even moments of stillness are shared moments. Even quiet presence is participation. You don't need to reach outward to belong. Belonging is already built in. If this thought feels grounding or reassuring, press like so others can experience this calm perspective. And if you're still listening with care, write "included" in the comments. Because once you realize you are entangled with the world, another gentle question naturally appears. If connection is everywhere, why does separation feel so real? That soft mystery leads us forward. Stay with me. Let this idea settle quietly. Separation feels real. You are here. The world is out there. Clear edges seem to exist between things. But physics suggests those edges are not as firm as they appear. What we call separation is a useful way of organizing experience, not a fundamental truth of reality. Boundaries help the mind navigate the world. They allow focus, they allow identity, but beneath those boundaries, everything remains connected. The universe does not divide itself into isolated pieces. It forms regions of attention within a single, continuous whole. This is why interactions never truly stop. This is why influence spreads. This is why change in one place can echo elsewhere. Separation is a perspective, not a wall. There is something deeply calming in this realization. It means distance does not equal disconnection. It means difference does not equal isolation. It means being alone does not mean being separate from reality. Even when you feel apart from things, you are still supported by the same structure that supports everything else. Nothing has been cut away. This perspective does not erase individuality. It softens it. It places it within a larger context. You are a viewpoint the universe is experiencing. If this thought feels reassuring or gentle, press like so others can find this calm understanding. And if you're still listening attentively, write "seeing clearly" in the comments. Because once separation is understood as perspective, one final question quietly appears. If connection is fundamental, what holds it all together? That calm answer waits just ahead. Stay with me. Let everything from this chapter settle gently. Particles acting as one, distance losing its power, separation revealing itself as perspective. All of this points to one quiet truth. Connection is not something that happens sometimes. It is something that exists first, before objects, before distance, before time is measured. Reality is built from connection. What we experience as separate things are expressions of an underlying unity, appearing different only because of position, scale, or focus. Nothing needs to be forced together. Nothing needs to reach across space. Connection is already present. This is why the universe remains coherent, why patterns repeat, why information is preserved, why balance returns. Connection is the stabilizing principle. There is something deeply comforting here. It means the universe is not a collection of strangers. It is a single system experiencing itself from many viewpoints. You are not connected to reality. You are connected as reality. Nothing essential about you is cut off from the whole. Even moments of doubt, even moments of distance exist within connection. If this chapter helped you feel calmer or more grounded, press like so others can discover this gentle understanding too. And if you're still listening with presence, write "ready to continue" in the comments. Now take a slow breath, because once connection is fundamental, another realization naturally follows. If everything is connected, then your presence must matter more than you think. That quiet truth is where we go next. Let's continue. Settle into this next idea softly. Until now, we've seen that reality is connected, responsive, and gently balanced. Now comes something even more personal. Observation does not merely reveal what already exists. It helps shape what becomes real. At the smallest scales, outcomes are not fixed in advance. They remain open, flexible, waiting. When an interaction happens, possibility narrows. One result quietly takes form. This does not mean reality is waiting for attention. It means interaction completes the process. Reality unfolds through participation. Nothing dramatic occurs. No sudden force is applied. The universe simply settles into one of many allowed states. There is something calming in this softness. It means the universe is not rigidly predetermined. It allows room for variation. It allows room for presence. Your observation does not control outcomes, but it matters. It is part of how balance is reached. Even at large scales, systems respond to interaction. Feedback shapes stability. Participation guides evolution. This principle scales upward quietly, from particles to patterns, from moments to long-term structure. You are never outside this process. Your presence is already included. If this idea feels meaningful or grounding, press like so others can find this calm perspective. And if you're still listening attentively, write participating in the comments. Because once observation shapes outcome, a deeper question naturally arises. If outcomes are shaped through interaction, how many outcomes are possible at once? That gentle mystery waits just ahead. Stay with me. Let this idea unfold gently. When we think about choice, we usually think in human terms: decisions, preferences, paths taken or not taken. But in physics, choice has a quieter meaning. At the deepest level, reality allows many possible outcomes to exist at once, not as chaos, but as structured potential. Until an interaction happens, nothing is fully decided. The universe holds several futures open, each one valid, each one allowed. When a choice is made, one possibility becomes real, while the others gently fade into the background. Nothing is destroyed. Nothing is rejected harshly. Reality simply settles. This doesn't mean choice is dramatic or powerful in a loud way. It is subtle. It is natural. It happens continuously. Even particles choose outcomes by following probability, balance, and constraint. There is something deeply calming in this. It means reality is not locked into a single rigid path. It adapts moment by moment. It remains flexible. Choice does not create disorder. It creates clarity. One path becomes visible because it fits the situation best. This applies far beyond physics. Systems stabilize through selection. Patterns emerge through gentle narrowing. Nothing is forced. Nothing is rushed. If this perspective feels grounding or thoughtful, press like so others can discover this calm way of understanding reality. And if you're still listening closely, write choosing calmly in the comments. Because once choice is woven into reality itself, another quiet question appears. If many outcomes are possible, where do the others go? That soft mystery leads us forward. Stay with me. Let this idea arrive without resistance. When physics allows many possible outcomes, a natural question appears. Do the other possibilities simply vanish? One way science explores this is through the idea of many worlds. This does not mean countless dramatic universes colliding. It is much quieter than that. It suggests that every allowed outcome continues in its own consistent way, without interfering, without noise. Reality does not fight over which path is correct. It allows all balanced paths to exist. From the inside, you experience only one, the one that remains coherent with you. The others do not disappear violently. They simply become unreachable, like roads that gently branch away. There is nothing frightening here. No version of you is lost. No choice is punished. Reality does not judge outcomes. It supports consistency. This idea is not about chaos. It is about completeness. The universe does not discard what is allowed. It keeps its possibilities tidy, each in its own quiet place. There is something deeply calming in this picture. It means existence is generous. It does not demand perfection. It allows variation without collapse. Your experience remains smooth and continuous, no matter how many possibilities exist beneath it. If this way of thinking feels reassuring or fascinating, press like so others can discover this calm explanation. And if you're still listening attentively, write continuing in the comments. Because once multiple outcomes can exist peacefully, another gentle realization appears. If reality supports many paths, why does one feel so stable and familiar? That quiet truth waits just ahead. Stay with me. Let this idea settle without effort. When many possibilities exist, it's easy to imagine them collapsing suddenly like a door slamming shut. But reality is much softer than that. Probability does not collapse violently, it settles. Before an outcome appears, possibilities overlap calmly. They coexist without conflict. Nothing rushes to dominate. When an interaction completes, one possibility becomes clear, not because it was forced, but because it fit best. The universe does not snap into decisions. It eases into them. This is how stability is preserved. Harsh changes create shock. Gentle transitions maintain balance. Reality prefers the gentle way. Outcomes are selected through quiet agreement between conditions, constraints, and structure. Nothing is pushed aside aggressively, nothing is destroyed. Even the unrealized possibilities are not wasted. They remain part of the larger pattern supporting coherence behind the scenes. There is something deeply calming in this. It means reality does not punish uncertainty. It allows space for things to resolve naturally. You don't need to force outcomes in your own life either. Systems find their balance when given time and space. The universe models patience. If this idea feels reassuring or soothing, press like so others can discover this calm perspective. And if you're still listening attentively, write "settling" in the comments. Because once probability settles gently, another quiet question naturally arises. If outcomes resolve so softly, what role does awareness itself play? That gentle curiosity leads us forward. Stay with me. Let this idea approach gently, without needing answers right away. For a long time, science treated consciousness as separate from physics. Matter followed rules. Awareness simply observed. But at the deepest questions of reality, that separation becomes less clear. Physics does not yet know exactly how consciousness fits into the universe, but it no longer ignores it. Observation, awareness, and interaction are woven into every experiment. They cannot be fully removed. This does not mean the mind controls reality. It means awareness is part of how reality is experienced and completed. Consciousness may not create outcomes, but it participates in their resolution. There was something gentle and honest here. Science does not rush to claim certainty. It allows mystery to remain without fear. The universe does not demand that everything be understood immediately. Awareness may be a natural process, emerging from the same rules that shape matter and energy. Not separate, not special, just included. This means you are not outside the universe, trying to understand it from a distance. You are one of the ways the universe becomes aware of itself. There is comfort in that belonging. You don't need to solve reality to be part of it. If this thought feels grounding or peaceful, press like so others can discover this calm perspective. And if you're still listening attentively, write "aware" in the comments. Because once awareness is included in the picture, another realization quietly appears. If you belong this deeply, then you were never meant to be separate at all. That gentle truth waits just ahead. Stay with me. Let this understanding settle softly. It's easy to feel like an observer standing outside the universe, trying to understand it from a distance. But physics tells a quieter story. You are not separate from the system you study. You are part of it. Your body follows the same rules as stars and particles. Your thoughts arise from the same processes that shape patterns everywhere else. Nothing about you is foreign to reality. You were not placed into the universe. You emerged from it. This means belonging is not something you earn. It is something you already have. The universe does not treat you as an exception. It includes you naturally, without question. There is something deeply comforting in this. It means you don't need to justify your presence. You don't need to prove your value. You are already woven into the structure of things. Even confusion fits. Even uncertainty belongs. The system is designed to hold variation, difference, and change. You are not disrupting reality by being here. You are fulfilling it. Your participation is gentle and automatic. You don't have to do anything special to matter. If this perspective feels reassuring or grounding, press like so others can discover this calm understanding. And if you're still listening attentively, write "I belong" in the comments. Because once you recognize that you belong to the system, another quiet realization appears. If belonging is built in, then the universe itself cannot be hostile. That gentle truth leads us forward. Stay with me. Let this idea arrive without tension. Chaos often sounds frightening, unpredictable, out of control, something to avoid. But in physics, chaos has a quieter meaning. It does not mean randomness without order. It means sensitivity within structure. Small changes can lead to different outcomes, but those outcomes are still guided by clear, reliable rules. Nothing happens without boundaries. Even the most complex systems follow patterns beneath the surface. They repeat shapes, they echo rhythms, they return to balance over time. This is why storms form spirals, why galaxies curve, why heartbeats find steady rhythms again after disruption. The universe allows variation without losing coherence. There is something deeply calming in this. It means unpredictability does not equal danger. It simply means flexibility. Reality is not fragile, it is resilient. It can bend, shift, and adapt without breaking. Chaos is how the universe explores possibility while remaining stable. Even your own thoughts follow this pattern. They wander, they branch, they loop, but they usually return to equilibrium. Nothing is truly out of control. If this understanding of chaos feels reassuring, press like so others can discover this calm perspective. And if you're still listening attentively, write "finding balance" in the comments. Because once chaos is seen as structured, another gentle realization appears. If uncertainty is built into stability, then not knowing may be safer than it feels. That quiet truth waits just ahead. Stay with me. Let this idea rest gently with you. We are often taught to fear uncertainty, to see it as weakness or a lack of control. But in the universe, uncertainty is not a mistake. It is a natural condition. At the deepest level of reality, not everything is fixed or decided in advance. Possibilities remain open until they are needed. This openness is not dangerous. It is protective. If everything were known too early, systems would become rigid. They would lose the ability to adapt. They would break under pressure. Uncertainty gives reality room to breathe. It allows change without collapse. It allows correction without crisis. It allows balance to return gently instead of snapping back violently. There is something deeply calming in this. It means not knowing is not a failure of understanding. It is part of how stability is maintained. The universe does not rush to define everything. It waits, it observes, it allows clarity to emerge naturally. Even at the quantum level, uncertainty is not chaos. It is a rule, a boundary that keeps extremes in check. Your own uncertainty fits this pattern too. Questions, pauses, and doubts are not signs that something is wrong. They are signs that the system is working. If this perspective feels reassuring or peaceful, press like so others can discover this calm understanding. And if you're still listening attentively, write accepting in the comments. Because once uncertainty is understood as natural, one final realization quietly appears. If the universe allows uncertainty, then it must also allow trust. That gentle truth waits just ahead. Stay with me. Let this moment feel unhurried. As you listen, you may be absorbing ideas quietly, without trying to hold on to every detail. That is exactly how this is meant to feel. The universe does not require constant effort. It does not demand perfect attention. It allows understanding to arrive slowly. You don't need to solve everything you hear. You don't need to remember every concept. Simply listening is enough. Physics itself works this way. Systems do not improve by force. They stabilize through gentle adjustment, through feedback, through time. Progress is not always visible in the moment. Balance often forms beneath awareness, quietly aligning things in the background. There is something comforting in this parallel. Just as the universe remains stable without constant control, you are doing better than you may realize without needing to try harder. Rest is not a pause from progress. It is part of how progress happens. Even now, your mind is settling, organizing, letting unnecessary tension fall away. This is not lost time, it is alignment. If this reassurance feels helpful or calming, press like so others can find this quiet encouragement too. And if you're still listening gently, write "still with you" in the comments. Because once you allow yourself to settle, one final idea naturally appears. If the universe trusts its own balance, maybe you can too. That gentle closing thought leads us forward. Stay with me. Let this final idea of the chapter arrive gently. When we say the universe is listening, we don't mean ears or attention or intention. We mean responsiveness. Reality responds to what exists within it. To presence, to interaction, to balance. Nothing you do happens in isolation. Every action becomes part of the system, quietly influencing what comes next. This does not mean the universe judges or reacts emotionally. It means it adjusts. Just as a lake responds to a falling leaf with gentle ripples, reality responds to participation with subtle change. There is something deeply comforting here. You are not shouting into emptiness. You are not invisible to existence. Your presence is registered simply by being present. The universe does not ignore what is real, and you are real. Listening in this sense is not attention, it is inclusion. Everything that exists is already accounted for. This means you do not need to fight to be noticed by reality. You are already part of the conversation. Even stillness participates. Even quiet awareness leaves its mark. If this thought feels reassuring or grounding, press like so others can find this calm understanding too. And if you're still listening with presence, write "heard" in the comments. Now take a slow breath, because once you realize the universe responds, one final realization gently appears. If reality is this responsive, then it must also be kind. That soft truth is where we go next. Let's continue. Let everything slow down a little more. Across the universe, extremes are rare. Temperatures settle. Forces balance. Systems move toward calm states whenever they can. This is not coincidence. It is preference. The universe naturally favors balance. Energy spreads out. Differences soften. Sharp edges smooth over time. This is why storms eventually fade, why waves flatten, why chaos does not last forever. Reality is constantly adjusting itself toward stability. This does not mean change stops. It means change is guided. Even the most powerful forces follow limits. Even the fastest events return to equilibrium. There is something deeply comforting in this. It means the universe is not reckless. It does not push everything to extremes. It protects itself by redistributing stress gently. Balance is how existence survives. This preference for balance also appears in quiet places. In breathing, in heartbeats, in sleep, your body follows the same rules. Tension releases when it can. Systems seek rest naturally. You don't need to force relaxation. Balance arrives on its own when resistance fades. If this understanding feels calming or reassuring, press like so others can discover this peaceful perspective. And if you're still listening attentively, write settling in the comments. Because once you see how deeply balance is built in, another gentle realization appears. Stability is not something you have to create. It is something the universe already wants for you. Stay with me. Let this idea rest gently. Stability is not something the universe struggles to achieve. It is something built into the way reality works. From the smallest particles to the largest structures, systems naturally move toward states that can last. Unstable arrangements don't survive for long. They dissolve, they rearrange, they give way to patterns that hold. This is why atoms form reliably, why stars shine steadily for billions of years, why planets find smooth paths through space. The universe filters itself. What cannot remain balanced quietly fades away. What fits continues. There is nothing harsh about this process. No judgment, no urgency, just gentle correction. Reality does not demand perfection. It only asks for enough balance to continue. There is something deeply reassuring here. It means existence is supported. It does not hang by a thread. It is reinforced at every level. Even when disturbances occur, systems absorb them. They redistribute energy. They return to calm. Your own body follows this same logic. When stress appears, it searches for rest. When effort peaks, it seeks recovery. Stability is not weakness. It is resilience. You don't need to hold everything together by force. The structure around you is already doing most of the work. If this perspective feels calming or grounding, press like so others can find this peaceful understanding. And if you're still listening attentively, write supported in the comments. Because once you realize stability is built in, another quiet truth gently appears. If reality works this hard to remain stable, then it is not indifferent to what exists within it. That soft realization waits just ahead. Stay with me. Let this thought arrive softly. We often hear the word laws and imagine rules that restrict, limits that control, boundaries that constrain. But the laws of the universe exist for a gentler reason. They protect balance. Physical laws prevent extremes from running wild. They limit speed. They limit energy. They limit collapse. Without these limits, nothing could last. Structures would tear apart. Stability would never form. Instead, the universe places quiet boundaries around what is possible. These boundaries are not punishments. They are safeguards. Light has a speed limit, so cause and effect remain meaningful. Energy is conserved so nothing disappears unfairly. Uncertainty exists so systems don't become brittle. Every rule serves continuity. There is something deeply calming in this. It means reality is not careless. It does not gamble with existence. It builds safety into its foundation. Even the most dramatic events still obey protective limits. Stars explode within rules. Black holes form within structure. Nothing is allowed to destroy everything. Your own experience fits this pattern too. Your body has limits that prevent overload. Your mind has cycles that protect rest. The universe is not trying to overwhelm you. It is trying to keep things working. If this understanding feels reassuring or comforting, press like so others can discover this calm perspective. And if you're still listening attentively, write "protected" in the comments. Because once you see laws as protection, another gentle realization appears. If reality is built to protect balance, then it cannot be cruel by design. That quiet truth leads us forward. Stay with me. Let this thought settle without resistance. It's easy to imagine the universe as cold, indifferent, or even hostile. But when you look closely, that picture begins to soften. The universe does not aim to harm what exists within it. It sets limits. It creates balance. It prevents runaway destruction. Nothing in nature is designed to seek suffering. Events unfold according to structure, not intention. When difficult things happen, they are not acts of cruelty. They are results of interaction, chance, and balance adjusting itself. This does not make experiences painless, but it makes them impersonal. The universe is not against you. It is not testing you. It is not watching for mistakes. It simply responds according to rules that protect continuity. There is something deeply calming in realizing this. It means you are not being targeted by existence. You are not failing at life because something went wrong. You are moving within a system that allows both ease and difficulty without judgment. Even pain has limits. Even disruption settles eventually. Nothing escalates forever. Reality always pulls back toward balance. This does not erase hardship, but it removes hostility from the picture. You are not walking through a universe that wants you to struggle. You are moving through one that is trying to keep everything working. If this thought feels comforting or grounding, press like so others can find this calm understanding. And if you're still listening attentively, write "safe enough" in the comments. Because once you release the idea of a hostile universe, another gentle realization quietly appears. If nothing wants to harm you, then rest is allowed. That soft truth waits just ahead. Stay with me. Let your breathing slow naturally. You don't need to change it, just notice it. In a quiet way, reality follows a similar rhythm. Expansion and rest, movement and pause, release and return. The universe is not frozen in one state, it gently breathes. Stars are born and fade, energy spreads and settles, systems grow then soften back into balance. Nothing is held tightly forever. This rhythm is not rushed, it is not forced, it unfolds at the pace needed to remain stable. Picture the universe like a slow tide. It moves outward, then calmly draws back, over and over without urgency. Your body mirrors this pattern. Inhale, exhale. Tension rises, tension releases. Even your thoughts follow this cycle. They appear, they drift, they quiet down again. You don't have to push them away. They will settle on their own. There is something deeply comforting in knowing that rest is not an interruption of reality. It is part of how reality functions. The universe does not demand constant motion. It allows stillness. It allows recovery. You are not falling behind by slowing down. You are aligning with a natural rhythm. If this visualization feels calming or helpful, press like so others can discover this quiet way of resting. And if you're still listening attentively, write "breathing with it" in the comments. Because once you feel this shared rhythm, another gentle realization appears. You don't need to stay alert to remain part of the universe. You can rest and still belong. Stay with me. Let this idea arrive gently. There is a quiet pressure many people carry, a feeling of being behind, of missing a moment, of arriving too late to something important. But the universe does not run on deadlines. Nothing in nature hurries itself to keep up with an imagined schedule. Stars take millions of years to form. Galaxies drift slowly into shape. Even light travels at a steady, fixed pace. Reality is patient by design. You are not out of sync with the universe. You are moving at a pace that fits your conditions. Every process unfolds when the surrounding balance allows it, not before, not after. This is not delay, it is alignment. There is something deeply calming in realizing this. You were never meant to arrive earlier than your structure allowed. Nothing meaningful has been missed. Nothing essential has passed you by. Even moments that feel slow or uncertain are part of timing working correctly. The universe does not measure worth by speed. It measures stability by fit. You are not racing against reality. You are moving with it. And right now, being here, listening, resting, is exactly where timing places you. If this thought feels reassuring or gentle, press like so others can find this calm perspective. And if you're still listening attentively, write "on time" in the comments. Because once you let go of rushing, another quiet realization appears. If nothing is late, then nothing needs to be forced. That soft understanding waits just ahead. Stay with me. Let this idea settle gently without needing answers. For much of life, we are taught to solve, to explain, to reach certainty. But the universe is not built on complete answers. It is built on mystery. Not mystery as confusion, but mystery as space. Room for things to unfold. Room for curiosity to rest. Physics itself accepts this. At the deepest levels, there are limits to what can be known, not because something is hidden, but because openness is part of how reality works. The universe does not rush to reveal everything. It allows layers, depth, silence, between understanding. There is something deeply comforting in this. It means you are not failing when you don't understand everything. You are participating correctly. Mystery is not a problem to eliminate. It is a place to belong. You live inside it. You breathe inside it, and it holds you without demanding explanation. Even science rests inside mystery. Every answer opens new questions. Every discovery reveals new quiet spaces. This is not frustration. It is continuity. The universe remains gentle by never closing itself completely. If this thought feels calming or safe, press like so others can discover this quiet truth. And if you're still listening attentively, write "at home" in the comments. Because once mystery feels like home, another gentle realization appears. You don't need to stay awake to remain connected to it. That soft understanding leads us toward rest. Stay with me. Let this idea arrive softly. Wonder does not need fear to be meaningful. For a long time, mystery has been framed as something unsettling, something to conquer. something to escape. But the universe shows us another way. Strangeness does not imply danger. Complexity does not mean threat. The unknown is not an enemy. At every scale, from the smallest particles to the widest stretches of space, mystery exists peacefully. Nothing panics because it is not fully understood. Nothing resists being incomplete. Reality remains calm, even when it is strange. There is something deeply reassuring in this. It means you don't need to tense up when things feel unclear. You don't need to force explanations before you are ready. Wonder can be gentle. Curiosity can be quiet. Awe can exist without urgency. You are allowed to observe without analyzing, to feel without naming, to rest inside questions. The universe does this constantly. It allows phenomena to exist before they are understood. It allows patterns to form before they are explained. Nothing breaks because of mystery. Everything continues. If this understanding feels calming or freeing, press like so others can find this peaceful way of seeing reality. And if you're still listening attentively, write "at ease" in the comments. Because once wonder is free from fear, another gentle realization appears. You don't need to stay alert to remain curious. Curiosity can soften into rest. Stay with me. Let this moment feel unguarded. You've followed ideas that stretch reality, that soften certainty, that widen perspective. Now nothing more is required. Understanding does not need to be complete for rest to arrive. Awareness does not need to stay sharp to remain connected. The universe does not demand attention every moment. It continues quietly whether you watch or not. You are allowed to step back. Everything important keeps working on its own. Balance holds. Patterns remain intact. There is something deeply reassuring in this. You do not have to stay alert to keep the universe together. You do not have to hold reality in place with thought or effort. It was stable before you arrived. It will remain stable as you rest. Your body understands this instinctively. Muscles soften, breathing slows, thoughts lose their urgency. Nothing is being missed. Rest is not absence. It is participation in a quieter mode. The universe supports this state. It allows slowing. It allows release. You are not stepping away from meaning. You are settling into it. If this moment feels calming or relieving, press like so others can find this gentle ending too. And if you're still listening softly, write "resting" in the comments. Because once you allow yourself to rest, only one final thought remains. Everything that needs to happen will continue without effort. And you are free to let go. Stay with me. Let this final thought arrive quietly. Nothing needs to be solved right now. Nothing needs to be fixed. Nothing needs to be decided. The universe is continuing in its steady, reliable way. Stars are burning calmly. Fields are balancing themselves. Time is moving exactly as it should, and you are included in that order. Nothing about this moment is wrong. Nothing is behind. Nothing is missing. Even uncertainty is in the right place. Even rest is part of how things work. You don't need to hold on to every idea you heard. You don't need to remember each detail. Understanding has already done its work, quietly, gently, without effort. The universe does not require constant awareness from you to remain meaningful. It allows you to drift. It allows you to soften. It allows you to sleep. Everything important is already accounted for. Balance does not disappear when you close your eyes. Connection does not break when attention fades. Reality continues to support itself. and it supports you too. If you stayed with this journey to the end, you can write completed in the comments whenever you feel like it. For now, there is nothing else to do. Just let your breathing slow. Let thoughts loosen. Let the night carry you gently forward. Everything is okay. You can rest now. If you're still listening, there's nothing more you need to do. The universe is already continuing in its quiet, balanced way. Stars are holding their shape. Time is moving gently. Connections remain intact without effort. You don't need to stay awake to keep understanding alive. Understanding has already arrived, softly, without asking for attention. If your thoughts are slowing, that's natural. If they're drifting, that's allowed. Nothing important is being missed. This is how reality rests. It doesn't stop. It doesn't rush. It simply continues. You are safe to let go. If this video helped you feel calmer, you can press like so others can find this quiet space too. And whenever you feel like it, you can write completed in the comments to mark the end of your journey tonight. But there's no hurry. You don't need to reach the end to receive the comfort. Even now, as attention softens, everything remains in place. The universe does not need supervision. It has been steady for a very long time. You are free to rest. Breathing slows. Muscles release. The night carries you gently forward. There is nothing left to understand. Everything is okay. Good night.